you can see. So as soon as you create any project, right? Any project here in which is basically the C# console application, it will create one default class for you, class file for us, which is program.cs. Right? Now this is one of the classes it actually created, and we can create any number of classes of the same sort. Right? So here you can see it says class program, right? And so on. We'll understand what exactly is class. The first, let's understand what are different things we have in here. The first thing is the import of a library. Now, yesterday we have understood that, right, we can use .NET libraries, right, in our references section of the application, right, so that we can, whatever features are provided, we can actually use those features and we can actually use those features and develop applications. Now, as soon as you import them in your references here, right, so it will not be directly used. Right, if you want to use it in any specific class, right, then you have to make sure that you are using it. Now, as we move on, right, you'll understand the importance of using the libraries here. Why to define here and again use here? Because once you define, let's say, once you have added the library here, again, why should I call out this name here? Because there will be hundreds of libraries which you want to get into reference, but maybe in this class I just want one or two libraries. Then there is no meaning in actually using all the libraries, creating the reference of all libraries in one shot in a class program. So that's the reason why, if you don't want any library, you can remove. Let's say this XML part I don't want, right click and remove. Let's say link, as of now I'm not looking for any link, remove. Simple. So here again, let's say if I'm not going to use anything, but whatever you are actually using, whatever you feel that you need the library to be used, you have to. Don't worry, this part is something which you're going to touch base on each and every concept you're going to learn, right? Where we'll be actually using multiple libraries, right? So that's about your using your library. Now, once you've called out your libraries, then you have something called namespace. You can see that whatever is defined within a namespace. Right? Now, this namespace, you can see my first, which is same as your project. So if you remember the properties of this, the default namespace will be same as your project. Right? Now, so within this project, we have something called class created. Right? Now, class is the main, entity where we normally start writing the actual functional code or a logical code which will generate some output. Right? Now, so now here you can see this is a class, and class, right, is created within namespace. Right? So now, before actually going ahead with the namespace, first let's see within a class what exactly we can actually put. Now, so first understand the simple class. Right? Now, class basically contains two different members we normally call, one variables and methods or functions. Fine. So you have a variable and a method. So these are the members of a class. Now, how we will never get anything from this. These are the only ones we do have, which is a method and a variable. Now, this is basically derived from our real-time scenarios. So, take an example of a human, for example, right? So, a human can basically have two divisions: one, attributes, or normally say features, right, or a behavior. That's it. You will never get anything out of these two. Either anything which connects with human either comes under feature or a behavior. Now let's say for example, so here you have eyes, right, ears, right, hands, and so on. Right? Whereas if you can see the behavior, let's say a human can walk, right? Human can speak, human can hear, right? Or so many things. Now, in this way, if you take any feature or anything about human, it will come into one of these divisions. It will not go beyond this. A fear comes under a behavior, right? Head, like legs, or features, whatever you actually take, right? Anything will come under these two only. In the same way, take any other class if you want. Let's say you're going to take class or a bird class. Again, what will have features behavior. Every bird will have wings, eyes, right head, legs. Similarly, behavior. Birds can fly, right? Birds can see. All these are behaviors. So, which means this classification is common across any type of entity you take. Either it comes to features or behaviors. That's it. So this is the main point of derivation being done, right, for a class. That's why we normally call human class, right, bird class, or animal class, and so on. The concept is same here, right? Now a class will have either a variable or a method. So anything you define either comes under a variable or a method. That's it. There is no third thinking about this, right? And we are going to see variables and methods in separate way, how best we can actually use, right? So here this is my method called main method, right? In every class in console type of applications, right, you can have any number of classes, and we are going to create many classes across our programs, and in one project it should have at least one class with a main method, because once you define a main method, now whenever you run the program, because definitely when you write a program you will definitely expect some output out of it after doing some action, right? And you want to show it in the state, simple requirement, right? So in this situation you can see, yes, I have a class called program, and inside this I have defined one method. Now this is the default method of, and syntax is same. It should be static, void, main, open bracket, close bracket, and some other. Don't worry, I'm going to explain each of these words of this as we move on, right? And now every entity is included in braces. When you define a class, you can see the syntax of class is define a class and a class name, which is program. So whatever you can see in blue color here in the visuals below are called as keywords or reserved words. .NET Framework understands when you define a class or a namespace, you can see namespace, space. This is a namespace name, which is my first open bracket and close bracket. So .NET Framework will automatically understand, okay, this is a namespace definition, this is a class definition. Right? It will automatically understand. Okay, this is what is happening. Right? Now similarly here you can see this is syntax. Static, void, main, right? With some parameters. Don't worry, this complete set of things we are going to learn as part of our methods mainly. As part of methods or functions. We're going to learn. So no issues with that. We're going to see how it works. Now when we have a main method, we have a namespace defined. Within the namespace we have defined class, we have a main. So now first let's see how to run the program, and then we'll try to create multiple classes and we'll see how it is defined with namespaces and main. Fine. Now here, let's say I'm going to write some code to print something. Now this is a console application, and let's say I want to print hello world on a console window. So now under system, see, always remember when I say using so library, this is an internal library provided by .NET vendor. Right? So here what I can do, I can, let's say, under this library I have a simple class called console. Dot is called as a scope resolution operator. Now everything you define a member or a method or a property or define anything you can access through dot. Okay. Now what exactly it is, we'll understand more as we go on. Okay. So here what I'm going to do, I'll say console dot, I'll say write line. Now this is one of the methods we have inside a console, which is predefined. And here I'll say open and close bracket, and I'll say hello world and close bracket and semicolon. Each and every line of code in C# is called as a statement. Now this is one statement where I'm trying to print hello world on top of the console window. Now how to open console window, how to print everything, this class will take care. That is a feature provided for us by Microsoft Windows. That's a feature. Right? So now in here, this is something which is now with this what I'll do, I'll use console again dot, I'll say read key something or maybe read line. So I'll explain you why I'm actually doing this read line. So what will happen as soon as I run my program, right? What will happen? I have to print it, and I have to wait till user input something and then close the program. So open the program, main will be triggered, it will enter into this block, execute each and every statement will be executed synchronously, okay, sequentially rather, first statement, second statement, and then close the program. That's how it works, right? Now, so before I show you how to run program, first let's see how to build a program. Right? Remember, any program written in a plain English or any language like C# that cannot run directly. Right? So Visual Studio is a very rich tool, and you don't have to worry about building again and again and running it around. Right? First, let me open up the folder of this program or this project. In this folder, you can see in this project, you can see that okay, this is a project file, and we have seen configuration file and properties and everything. Now let's understand bin. Now bin is a folder where all your converted binaries, which is machine code normally say, right, is created. The final assembly is created. You can see here, as of now, we don't have any assembly being there because still we haven't built this project. That's why, because these are default manifest files or XML configuration files we have in here. But now what I'll do, let me just build it, right? When I start building or compiling the program, right? What it will do, it will compile the program, it will convert into MSIL, and MSIL will be converted into machine code through JIT, and the binaries will be created, right? That's how it actually works. Now let us see how to build. Now here you have an option called build. Now what you can build three different things, or two different ways, sorry. First way is to building a solution, where one solution can have multiple projects, right? So all projects will start executing. Or I can build a specific project. Let's say, yeah, this is my build, my first instance, I'm building only my project. Rebuild in the sense it will clean, it means it will delete the old binaries and run again. Clean is nothing but deleting all. Okay, first let's run this build my first. As soon as I run, you can see in the status bar it says build started, and you can see in this folder, right, your final application file. You can see binary got created just now. You can see 829. It just created an application. Now this is a final binary which I can start running. Simple as that. Right, this is something which is called the build. Right? Now once build is done, now let me execute it. Now how to execute? You can see once you go to class, you have a button called start button. Click on it. You can see this user of hello world. When you click on it, this console window will open. Anyways, let me just maximize the properties, font. You can see hello world. Now this is a console window, right? And hello world is something which I want. And you can see this cursor is blinking. Why? Because we have written read line, which means it will wait for us to provide a new line here. Now why we have to make it wait? Because as soon as it prints, right, if you don't make it wait, it will automatically go and close, right? I'll show you that first. If you don't have this, what will happen? It will open up, print, and it will go. You will not get some time to see what exactly is written, right? So now input any character called enter, maybe it will go. So you can see the program stopped. Right? So let's say if you don't have this read line, which means you are not doing it again and again, you don't have to rebuild it. Okay? But yes, whenever you do major changes across your programs, across your classes and all, right? Then yes, save all first, and then you can maybe rebuild your the project or solution, whatever you want, right? And then you can run it. See, when I run it, see it open. See, it opened, printed, and closed. Definitely. That's what we written. That's what we have written. Figure main, just print it as soon as you print it, close. Because I don't want after printing and closing my application. That's why I've done this. Okay. So now this is how. So either you click on start or press F5. F5 is a shortcut. This is a function key 5. This is a shortcut to run your program. This is how. Right. Now this is how program is called. Program is C. Right. Now here you can see this is to start and doing. Maybe like if you want, you can also go to the binary. Let's say this is the one which you are going to give to outside world. Double click on this. See, you will get the same output. Hello. This is the actual exe or an application created which can be used to run the programs. Fine. So this is how we can execute the program, right? And we can get the output. Okay. Now this is the way to build, right? To arrange your things inside the class and the output you are actually getting. So now here you can see if I clean the project. Let's say if I go and click on clean. Clean is nothing but you can see it will delete all the generated binaries, right? And next time if you want to run it, right, I can click on start directly. Which means when I click on start, what it will do, see, it will automatically build, generate the exe and then it will run. Which means again and again you don't have to worry about build until you have a major changes and check whether your complete product is done. Right? So tomorrow, let's say if you change, let's say hello world and just a few exclamatory marks, right? You don't have to again build, just run it. It will automatically save and it will make sure that it is considered, this class is considered for a new execution, which is fine. Now this is how we normally run the right. Now this is one class we have taken, right, where we have seen a main method and we have seen something called class and we have seen within a one namespace. Okay, so now here, so now we have created one class, right? It is an auto-generated class. So now let's go ahead and understand how it works across. So basically understand that we always create a class, right? The reason behind creating class is to create a reusable code, right? See, when we say human class, right, there can be hundred of humans, but they'll be using one template called human class, right? When we say human class, multiple persons, right? For example, let's take an example of any guy called Sid. Now this guy is an object of human class, right? When we say object of human class, what does it mean? Because whatever are related to human, yes, this guy will have. Which means if you want to define any if you want to qualify any class, yes, you have to we create an object of that class so that, okay, seeing this we can see yes, this is a human class kind of, right? So which means we can actually reuse the same for creating multiple instances here. Now which means I can have multiple classes. So now one class is programmed. Now let's create one more class. Let me create one more class. Right click. How to create? I want to create it in a project. I want to create this in a same level of project. So right click on this and say add, and you can see there is a class. And if you don't find the file type which you have here, now anyways this is giving a quick items, but anyways if you don't find, you can always go to click on new item. Now this will open the items items wizard, and you can see there is, anyways it will give you all the items if you want. If you want to code, right, now you can go to code, you can see this is a class one, and you can give some name here. So let me just make it class one itself and click on add. So now you can see as soon as you create a new class, see the file name got created, which is class one, which is same as my class defined, and I'm saying dot save, which is now this class is going to take C# code. Right? Now in this class you can see as soon as this class is created, there is no method created. So by default when we create this project with this class, even this method created, right? But it will not create for every class. No. It will create only when you are creating a project, and in that project you create only for one class. That's it. Now here you can see we created this class under same project. So you can see the namespace is again my first. Right? Now here this class one is the class, right, which is parallel class to program. You can see there are two different classes. They are not related kind of. Right? So whatever I define here, it can be variables or methods or whatever, I can access this in my class program, and I can use all the facilities or methods or whatever is being created in class. Right? Now you can see the namespace is same, which is my first, and here the namespace is same, which is my first again. So what I can do, I can access the class from here. Now accessing class is nothing but, let's say I'm gonna create an object. Don't worry, creating an object and everything we are going to get into more detail, but I'm using it because I want to show you the differences we have in namespaces while accessing a class. Simple. So now as the namespace is same, I can start using class one. See, now this window is called as an intelligence window, a very rich window and a very rich feature of .NET, right, which will help us to code very fast, right? So as soon as you type in, right, this will give you what exactly can be used at this point of time. It can be class or any other variable or whatever with respect to whenever you type starting, right? Or you can press on control space. When you press on control space, it will again enable your intelligence. Now you can see this is a class, my first dot class one, and I want to enable this to create an object. Right? So now let me create an object called obj is equal to new. So don't worry about this convention. What we have to worry now is, okay, I am able to call this class here. That's it. Don't worry about this. We are going to learn this in very deep way. Okay. This is your class one. Now let's go one step ahead. First, let me create a folder in this. Right click on this my first and say add a new. Oh, sorry. Not that form. Right click, add a new folder. So now let me say this is a biz folder, some other folder which is business folder. What I want to do, I want to create some classes in this business folder, right? So you can see my first is a main folder, which you can see my first, and in my first there are two files called class one program. But now you can see as soon as we created a folder here, it created a folder there. So now let me create one class here. Right click and say add a class, right? So let me call it as a class 2. For example, click on add. Right? Now look at the namespace. Namespace will change, right, or will get appended with the absolute namespace. My first is the starting, which is a main folder, which is my first. You can see and then you have a biz, which means in this folder you can see class 2 file called created. Now this namespace, again, that's why keep it in mind, namespace always defines the location where exactly it is defined, and the location is at this here. This is a class 2, right? Similarly, let's say in this biz I want to create one more folder, add new folder. Let's say in the biz, let's say I want to say trading, and in this trading I'll create one class, add a class. Let me call it as class 3, for example. You can see here, as soon as you create trading within this, right, within this folder I have a trading. Go inside and you can see class 3 created. Clear? Now this is how the namespace is used. Now if you want to access class 3, this is important, namespace. I'll show you now I'll show you how to customize, how to use this using for our custom namespaces, right? Now you can see my first.biz similarly here. Now as your class 1, as your program is a main class from where I'm calling everything, for example, so program is in my first, so I will be able to access classes which are directly in my first directory. But what about others? My first.biz and my first, right? So first what you have to do, you have to import or use those namespaces. My first dot, you can see biz, okay. So when you save it, all the classes within this can be accessible. Now what is the class we have? Class 2. You can see class 2, right? Class 1 and class 2. You can see that class 3 is not visible here, right? Why it is not visible? Because the class 3 is in some other namespace within this and it is not imported. But let's keep going with class 2 first. Class 2 obj2 is equal to new class, which means now we are able to call class 2 also. Now let's go to class 3, which is again defined in other namespace in here. So what you have to do again, import all the namespaces you are looking for. My first dot, biz dot, trading, for example. Right now, if you start typing in, now you can see class 3 visibility started. This is the visibility which I was talking about. Okay, we have a class 3 and we have obj 3 is equal to new class. Now this is how we normally create namespaces, right? We don't create namespace when we create a folder and define all the classes and everything within. Now namespace will be automatically created for that, right? Automatically created for the level of classes, a level of class, level of any file as such, right? Whatever you want to create will be created, and the accessibility is this. Now you will understand when I say using system. Well, where is this system coming from? This system is coming from .NET Framework, which Microsoft have provided. And under this system, we have access console. What is this console? Console is a class, right? As we were accessing class 2, which is under my first.biz. Similarly, console is a class which is getting access from system. Simple, right? So these are the system defined system defined namespaces under which we have multiple classes. Okay. So this is something which is a concept of namespace we have here. And this namespace concept is common across complete .NET technology. There is no change in it, right? Whenever you define namespace, you have to make sure to first import that namespace, and right, or else if I don't import, right, if I import this, right, I can call this class any number of times here. Let's say I have a class 3 and I can call one more again class 3. I can create second object again. Let's say maybe obj4 is equal to new class 3, kind of, because I have already imported this. But let's say if I don't import something, let's say if I don't import this, remove it. So what will happen? Immediately you can see this is called as an error. Now if you go to build and say rebuild my first, right, this will give you error, and this is called as an error window, right? As soon as you miss something, this will be error window. Now here you can see type or namespace. Now it will give you a clear-cut information so that you can go ahead and solve it. It says type or namespace name class 2 could not be found, which means class 2 is not visible to my first. It is in this folder. So which means we have to get the namespace back, right? So that's why if you can see here, right, we'll get an op and it says using once. When you click on it, it will automatically and save it up and go and rebuild again. Now the code is right. Now this is how we normally create namespace and multiple classes. So these are about your class, your different accessing of classes, methods, which is the main method we have seen, and how we can actually how differently we can create namespaces, how differently we can access, right? Fine. So this is the concept of namespaces we have, guys. So with this, the base foundation of complete is done. So from tomorrow, we're going to start with data types. C#.NET. Anyways, the one which we have learned also comes with that. But tomorrow onward, we're going to start with actual concept of first we'll start with data types and we'll move on.